All right, welcome to the SOAR Mastermind. This afternoon, we're going to be talking about how to build a strategic partner network. So I'm building one as the leader of Omnia Elevate. Yet, are you building one for you? So we're going to talk about the benefits of that, how to build it. We're going to go through all those different scenarios. If you have questions, you're welcome to ask. I encourage that. With us being more topical, I know sometimes it can feel like it's more of a class and instruction, but I want you to be able to ask questions and we can strategize around this topic. So let me share my screen. We'll get started. All right. So when you're building anything, whether it's in business or life, you're building, maybe some sort of philanthropy to give back. The best way to build, and BNI, if you ever heard of Business Networking International, you can pay to be a part of it. Their philosophy is heavily built upon this, but I think it's true in anything that you build is you have to have the givers gain philosophy. And that can be hard, yeah, especially if you're coming into real estate and you've had just a normal job. You go do your job, what's the expectation? To get paid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When you have the giver's gain philosophy, there's a lot of times that you're giving away and there's nothing coming back because sometimes it takes time. It's not always something that's going to be instantaneous, and that's the challenging part of it is that we want things sometimes to happen a lot faster, and this does take a little bit more time. So it's coming from contribution. What are you giving? And not just giving to give, but you're giving in contribution. You're adding value to that relationship. You're adding value to their business. That's what it is. And here it talks even about the founder, Ivan Meisner, BNI, um, built the whole thing on giver's gain philosophy. The mindset shift is to go from transactional to relational. And I know a lot of agents over the years that I've worked with that are very transactional. And how I know is they do a lot of business, but it's not a lot of repeat and referral. And same thing when you're building this core network group, if you're very transactional, you're never going to get to the point in the relationship to where it's going to be beneficial for both parties. And you want to get to be in a referral driven business, it's just easier when you get to that point. Should always prospect. You should always go outside of your referral base to keep filling that opportunity, but you do want to get to a referral base. All right, so who are the right strategic vendor partners? Well, they really can be anybody, but you're going to look at four core areas. So the core areas are finance and title. So it's going to be your lenders, your title company. When you're at your title company, it's not just the business development person. That's the person that gets all the face time, right? But it's the escrow officer, the escrow officer assistant, the front desk person. They should all know you. Right. Home services, anything related to the home, inspectors, contractors, handyman, HVAC, plumbing, roofing specialist. Quick quiz. How many of these home service specialists should you be giving each client at a minimum?
3.
Three. Absolutely. Want to make sure you get three. That way it keeps you out of trouble. Insurance. Now, now saying that, you might not have three inspectors in your group. Okay, you're going to have three inspectors to refer out with the also the disclaimer that they can go out do their own due diligence and use whoever they want. Maybe inside of your core strategic partners, though, you have one. Okay, and maybe how you present that is you have a flyer sheet and you have your three. Here's my preferred, right? Or here's the person that's a member of this organization that whatever name you created. Okay, insurance. Home, flood, windstorm. And again, each of these types of businesses might have multiple people that work in those. So you want to build all those relationships and then your presentation and moves. So stagers, interior designers, your photographers, videographers. moving companies, all those people that are part of that experience in helping you get the transaction done. All right, so you've got to if as you're building these, I'm sorry, financing and recovery. So your credit repair specialists, those type of people. Before we get to the scorecard, though, on how you should score these, is there's also second hidden opportunities that sometimes we don't think about. And those are like your divorce attorneys, estate planning attorneys. Robbie does a great class on wills and trust. So if you ever get a chance to take that, highly encourage it. And it's 1 hour CE. CPAs, financial advisors, HR managers, relocation specialists, apartment locators, builders, new construction reps, property managers. So all those could be secondary people, but also very important people to connect with to start building this strategic vendor partner network. All right. So how do you score them? Because everybody, once you start building this, you're going to have people approach you. I had some today. And it's like I took the call and I knew I shouldn't have. And because I've already got strategic partners in that area, I really can't help them because I've already got people that I'm committed to helping. But here's how you score them. They've got to have strong communication. If they're not communicating, then they're off the list. They're growth minded. So just as you're growth minded in your business and you're wanting to grow, they've got to be wanting to grow too. If you find somebody that's just happy and content where they're at, and sometimes you can find that with vendor partners that have been in the business for a long period of time, maybe they have an established business. They're not in that growth mode anymore. You want to avoid that. You want people that are going to grow with you. They've got to have a good reputation. So put their name out there. Find out what others know about them. Go to their social media profile. Whenever I have an agent that I'm looking at bringing on to Omni Elevate, I'm going and I'm looking at all their social media. I'm doing everything I can find on them, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to review it. To see if there's anything negative out there. I've been known, not with the organization I'm building now, but in organizations I've built in the past. I've been known to go back and say, "Well, what about this?" And they're like, "How did you find that?" Right? And I just want to make sure that the people that I'm bringing in and I'm working with have that positive reputation. And there's been times too, by the way, where there's maybe been a bad review or something, and those happen. So don't throw them out over one bad review. Just ask them about it. Accountable. They've got to be accountable to making mistakes. I have strategic vendor partners that have made mistakes as I've built this, and they just go and say, you know what? Hey, I messed up. I'm sorry. Great. We all mess up. Okay. But they're accountable. They acknowledge those, they own it. Align values. This is probably the biggest one for me is if their values aren't in alignment with mine, it's just like oil and water. It's just not going to mix. Okay. So make sure their values, because and values more than business sometimes, their values in life as well. Make sure those are in alignment. Okay. What to watch for if the communication is poor, or you get this feeling of me first or me only, um, go find somebody else. And you're gonna find those people in here that will come and it's all about them. It's all about what they can get out of you. I know I've got a couple new agents on here. And even your experienced ones. I know I got Raquel on here. You can be in business for a long time, and people see the opportunity. When I started building JLA Omni Elevate, I had a third party that I was looking at affiliating our organization with. It was going to cost quite a bit, and I went to him because I saw a lot of value in it. And I said, "Hey, look, this is what I'm building." And I knew these people that were building the organization, I've known them for a long time, friends. And they said, "You know what, Jeremy, you just don't qualify. You don't have enough people. It's not gonna work. These are our minimums." Well, guess what? I get an email and a call from them every week now, and they're like, "Hey," every time I add somebody, when I announce, "Hey, we're growing again," I can guarantee within an hour I get an email from this organization or a partner in this organization. "Hey, congratulations. If are you still thinking about it?" No, no, because it was all about them, right? You've got to find those people that can see the growth and they can see the potential. You got to exhibit it, but you've got to find those people that run along with you. Any questions so far? Does any of this like pique any questions or something that you've thought about? I'll give you time to unmute. Nothing? Crickets. Okay. Jessica, anything that this brings to mind? I see you're off mute.
No, not really. I mean, of course, I'm so super new. So, um, anytime I'm doing a transaction, I'm trying to, gain partner relationships with. And I guess I've been successful with the first American title rep in the Conroe area.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's a good start, but I don't have a lot of relationships with people yet. So,
Okay. So part of it's going to be you seeking it out, right? The other part of it's going to be them seeking you out. And you probably get a lot of those calls like, "Hey, I see you're in business. Can I help you?" Right?
no, I actually don't. So, yeah, no, I don't know.
I guarantee. So we'll go back to I haven't seen a 1 minute video with Jessica lately. If you're doing those, what would happen is your phone would start ringing. People are like, "Okay, who are you? I need to be in business with this person." So part of it is just putting yourself out there. If you put yourself out
Okay.
there, you'll attract it. The challenge is as you attract it, now you've got to go back through and say, okay, are they
Are they the
strong
right
candidates?
fit?
Are they the right
Yeah.
fit? Right? Because everybody will want to be your partner. All right. Good.
Yeah, everybody wants to be your friend, but
There you go. Hey, Raquel. Everybody does want to be your friend, right? You've been doing this long enough.
yeah, they want to wine and dine you, but when you really need them, I mean, they fall off. You find the genuine people. I mean, I have title people. Let's just talk about title because they're the ones that are really trying to wine and dine us all the time.
Yeah.
Um, I have my true and blue title people that I've used over the years that we're really friends. We have we want the best for each other.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about how to take
So
that wanting the best for
those
each other
people is who,
and turning it to business, right?
and right, absolutely.
All
That's
right.
my 2 cents.
I like it. That's worth five. All right. So strategic targeting research. So if you don't have these people, Jessica, this is a great activity here, is like finding them, researching them. So the first thing is review their digital footprint. If they're somebody you want to do business with, they're going to have a digital footprint. If they're not, I would question whether or not to have a strategic relationship with them. And we'll talk about why later. But review their digital footprint. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Are they on YouTube? Right? You should go into ChatGPT their name and see if anything comes up. Look for mutual connections. So who's connected to them that might be also connected to you? If you have that connection, it's a lot easier to start forming that relationship versus somebody you don't know. That's not saying you can't do it, but look for those that you're connected with. Evaluate their production and activity level. Okay. So real estate's really easy. So if you're building relationships with realtors, another area, referral partners, that sort of thing, you could probably go look up on the MLS and find out what they did. You know, loan officers a little bit harder because we might not have access to that information. So great questions to ask is, what was your production last year? How many loans did you close? Of those, what was the largest percentage? Were they FHA, conventional, VA? Those type of questions. You're going to vet their activity level. If they're not doing a lot of business, are you going to want to partner with them? No. Okay. Now, I understand we all start somewhere. Okay. So we got to keep that in mind too. Yeah, as we're building the business, we're building it with the mindset of growth. So we're looking for people that are going to be maybe even producing at a higher level than we are. You want to identify the under-connected gems. So some of the best partners are professionals who are not yet deeply plugged into their agent network. Okay, so these may be the people that, okay, their production's not quite there, but man, I really like what they say. Like they share with me their business plan, their go-getter. They don't have a lot of connections yet. I want to be that first connection. Okay. Then you're going to take all this information, you're going to build your top 20 target list. Put it in an Excel sheet so that you can print it off or just go in digitally, put an X next to each one as you're knocking down your list. So on that list, you're going to put the name, company, and a category. So like, title would be title, insurance would be insurance. Connection level, where are you at with them? I don't know this person, so they're cold. Maybe I know them a little bit, or we have a mutual contact. Okay. I'm going to have two or three different things to let myself know where we're at connected. Online presence score. So you might give a score of 1 to 10. You're going to have to make up your criteria, what fits. But are they a 1 on social media? Or are they a 10? Somewhere in between. Outreach status. You haven't contacted, you've had a conversation, you have a meeting set, or you're an active partner. So think of this as like creating your funnel, right? Haven't contacted, in a conversation, meeting set, ultimately active partner. I might add remove partner. Okay. We're going to talk more about that. How to break up. Notes on their business goals, any potential collaboration. Maybe you found a post on their social media or you saw some print ad or whatever it is. Make a note of that so that you can bring that back into the conversations with them. That top 20 is not going to be a static list. It's going to be a moving list. There's going to be people moving in the list. There's going to be people moving off the list. And 20 might just be the beginning. I'm going to encourage you to get to a list of about 50 people. Okay. You get to 50 and you get one person or each person to refer you one or commit to that. 25 actually come through. That's 25 deals in a year. It's not that hard. All right. What are your strategy questions? Who is already working with agents regularly? Don't let that scare you off. If they're currently working with people, again, if you're building that relationship with them, you're sending them business because they are the best, maybe in that category, then can you get them though to commit to 1 to 2 referrals a year? Probably can, right? As long as you're bringing value. Givers gain. Who is doing excellent work but not yet connected to a strong agent network? We talked a little bit about that. And who serves the same client demographic you specialize in? So if you're working in, let's say, the luxury market, I want title people that know luxury. At least I want them to know that the doing the job is not much different, but I want them to know the language. I want them hanging out with people that are doing luxury type stuff, right? So think about that. What's my avatar look like? And then how am I finding the people that are in alignment with that? Any questions on that or any thoughts? Did this pique anything? Any questions? Okay, keep going. All right, so now you get your target list that's put together, and now the scary part. You have to actually go talk to them now. All right. So what does that look like? How can we create a system around it to make it very easy? So you have to be in the right framework when you do this. You can't be what can I get out of it energy? Like it's what can I give? How can I add value? So you're not asking for the business, you're offering them an opportunity. So this is a mindset shift that you need to have as a business owner. Okay. The opportunity is to work with Alina. It's an opportunity, right? You're not asking for the business. So you got to position yourself too as a connector. And that's really strong realtors. That's one of the common things that I see in the thread, and why I put it in here, is that a great realtor is a great connector. What does that mean? You need to know a lot of people. What happens when you know a lot of people? you got a great business. Okay. So learn to connect. What are the biggest challenges right now? Lead flow, client experience, visibility. Who in my network could help with them right now, independent of anything reciprocal happening? What value could I provide in our first meeting? A social share. That's a huge one. I went out with David Clark, who's one of our strategic partners, and we go about twice a year. We get together and we just sit down. We talk about what is happening in our business, and then we share with each other what we might think might improve it. Right? It's just a conversation over coffee. It's actually a long conversation. We usually drink coffee for like 3 hours, but it's a great conversation. And every time I get done with that, I go out and I'll take a picture with him as just an opportunity to share his business, what he's doing. And in the post, I don't talk about myself. I talk about his business. I talk about him. And what's fun is when I do that is I get all these other vendor partners that are lenders call me and they're like, "Hey, when are we going out to lunch?" They're afraid I'm never going to use them again. No, I'm just giving value to the person that I'm meeting with. Right? I always tell them, I said, "Hey, we're going to stir up some trouble. Let's take a picture real quick." What makes me the kind of partner worth having? So think through your value proposition as a referral partner, not just an agent. And I'll give you an example, and I don't think David minds with this is, I told David, I said, where you can help me most is when you hear of an agent that is looking for an opportunity to join my team. And, because you're going to hear conversations that I won't ever get the opportunity to hear. And sure enough, like 2 weeks later, he referred somebody that's currently in our organization now. I'm not going to give their name because I don't know who might listen to this, but they ended up joining. And it was because of that relationship and giving to him, helping him in his business. He asked me how he could reciprocate. And I said, "This is how you can help me." And sure enough, he did. And that's not just the only person. There's probably three or four in my organization that are not because of realtors, because of strategic vendor partners that have made connections with me for agents that we're seeking. The agent who struggles with outreach are usually leading with "I need referrals." Okay, so don't do that. When you start saying "I need" or "I want," you're going to find yourself in a position where they're gonna sniff it out and they're gonna realize you're really not there to build a relationship or help them either. All right. Any questions or thought on that? Okay, so it's not scary yet. Okay, we're getting to where we're positioning ourselves. All right, so scripts, social media, maybe a direct message outreach. You may say something like, "Hey, Alina, I've been seeing your work and the way you serve your clients. It stands out. I'm building a network of trusted professionals that support each other and create opportunities together. Would you be open to grabbing coffee and exploring how we could collaborate with each other and grow?" Okay. Now, I want to put y'all on the other side of that. So, Jessica, I reach out to you and I ask you this, like, how does that make you feel, and what might you do because of that?
Um, it just feels warm and inviting, and I would definitely, I'm looking to grow, so I'd want to work with somebody that's looking to grow, and I would definitely accept the offer.
Yep. And more times than not, you're going to accept whoever's on the other side of this will accept the offer. And there's very important wording in it, right? I'm building a network of trusted professionals, so that already says, "Hey, I want to be with other people that are probably like-minded and that they want to work with people that are trusted." Um, would you be open to grabbing coffee, exploring how we could collaborate together, collaborate and work together to help each other grow? Like those words are in there specifically because you want to find those people that are wanting to collaborate, are wanting to grow. And those that hear those words and they're like buzzwords, they hear that and they're like, "I want that." They're going to say, "Sign me up." Right. I'll be there. Okay. Um, yeah. And the framework, the ask is mutual. So collaborating together, that's key. Best practices for DM outreach. I don't like these as much, but it might be the only way, especially if it's somebody that's like on your list that might be hard to get a hold of. It might be the only way to get them. Like or thoughtfully comment on two or three of the recent posts before you send the message. Don't just send them a direct message. And probably don't do it the same day. I probably should have added that in there as well. Don't be like two or three, and then, hey, let's collaborate. They're gonna be like, who is this nut? Personalize every message. So reference something specific as something they posted. So if they posted about their grandkid or they posted about going hunting or fishing, whatever it is, post that you recognize that. Generic messages will get ignored. How many of y'all have gotten those messages and it's like really long? That's the first clue. It's like really long, but it has your name in it. And yeah, they probably use mail merge. And you're like, yeah, they didn't write that just to me. I called an agent out on it the other day. Actually, it was a podcast guest of mine that sent me this. And I was like, great generic message. And I just sent that back and they just sent back a smiley face. You're not going to build a relationship, especially if you don't know them, if your message is generic. Follow up once. If they don't respond in 5 to 7 days, send them a follow up. After that, revisit in 30, 60 days. Don't send it every 5 to 7 days. Hey, haven't heard from you. Hey, haven't heard from you. Probably after two or three times, because what was one of our scorecard items? Communication, right? So if they're not communicating back with you, probably just move them off. I give 1 to 2 times, that's it. And then what's funny was when they come back like 3 months later, hey, nope, too late. Use stories and reels as conversation starters. Respond authentically to their content with a question or observation. More often, natural entry point than a cold DM. So look at their stories. What are they posting there? Add a question. Authentic question. Okay. Um, Platform, Instagram DM works well for creative vendors, stagers, photographers. LinkedIn is more for financial, CPAs. Match the platform to the profession. I use primarily Facebook, so Facebook's my go-to. All right, so texting. Again, probably not the best, maybe the only way. So, hey, Jessica, this is Jeremy with JLA Realty. I've heard great things about you. I'm connecting with a few top professionals in our space to build a referral network built on Giver's Gain. Would love to meet with you 20 or 30 minutes so we can see how we might be able to support each other. So very similar to the previous script and breaking it down. So we're not going to go through all that, other than we do have some social proof in there. I heard great things. Again, that lets that person know that there's a connection, even if they don't know you, that you're connected to somebody that's connected to them. That sometimes gets the door open. Get the number legitimately. Use mutual connections, business cards from events, publish business contact, never purchase list or scrap data. They're gonna be like, "How did you get my private cell phone?" Don't do that. I've got people that I have like they have second and third phones. I have those numbers, and like part of the conversation is like never give those out. So, um, which I don't. Send during business hours. Don't send it late at night. That's kind of creepy. Sitting there having a cocktail. That's when most agents will make a mistake. It's 9:30 at night and they send the message. Don't do that. Do it during business hours. Keep it under 3 sentences. If they're reading a book or an essay, they're not going to respond. They will delete it. Suggest the next step. So, and that's with anything within your business. If you're meeting with buyer clients or you're listing or whatever it is, always have the next step in mind. So don't leave it open-ended. Would you like to do Tuesday or Thursday? Would that work? Coffee be best? Let me know. Now, text, even though it's not as personalized, this stat I found is the highest read medium available. 95%. So when you see it, send a text, whether they respond or not, pretty good chance they read it. Any questions on this? Is anybody texting their vendor partners? No. Okay.
Yes.
You're texting them,
Mhm.
Raquel. What do you are you just texting follow-ups at this point?
Honestly, I just text them if I have a question or, about their business or a question about, my clients, I should text them and follow up with a phone call.
Okay. I want you to try this this week. I want to challenge you. Yeah. 5 vendors this week. I want you to text them, but nothing about business.
Okay.
Go scrub their social media, look for content, find a way to text them on something other than business. Just, hey, just checking in on you. Saw this. Looks like a great time. Okay.
Okay.
So a lot of this here that we're going through right now is just your initial outreach, but we'll talk more too about building that relationship. So phone call outreach, you're going to introduce yourself. You don't get a huge window here. If you don't know them, you've got seconds. So state your name, your company, and your purpose, right? And I'm calling you today. Mutual friend connected us. Would like to talk to you about X. Two, compliment. Offer a specific, genuine observation about their work, something maybe somebody said about them, something you found when you were digging through the material to get to know them better. Purpose. I'd like to build a strategic network of growth-minded professionals, and then you're going to come with the invite. Right. And I'm not going to go through the script here, but I provided a script and it's very simple. It's these 4 parts. Execution tips. Okay. And you're going to see me, for those that are JLA Realty Omni Elevate, you're going to see me in a little bit different setup. Hopefully here in the next couple weeks. One of the projects I'm working on is getting back to a stand-up desk. Right. When you're making your calls, stand up. Does anybody know why standing up makes a difference? What do you think, Jessica? What's the psychology in that?
I have no clue, but when I stand up, I tend to start walking around. So I don't know
Okay.
if that's my ADHD, and then like so like I'm doing something and then I can still focus, if that makes sense, and I'll just start rambling. But I
Good.
don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what I do.
It's channeled, right? It's controlled chaos, but it's standing up is going to allow you to project your voice differently. It's going to be an increased energy. Like even try like record yourself on a Zoom, like sitting down, going through a presentation, record yourself standing up on a Zoom and going through a presentation. Totally different feel. Don't over rehearse. You don't want it to feel like a script. Scripts are only good when you know them so well they become who you are. Otherwise, if you're sitting there and you're like struggling through it, you're like, okay, what am I supposed to go next? I'm supposed to go to the compliment, you know. But strategic partner, I'm about to compliment you. You can't do that. All right. Don't over rehearse it. Prepare for the voicemail. Have a 20-second voicemail ready that includes your name, brief hook, and a callback number. Don't ramble. So it's just like your elevator speech when you're at the gym and somebody says, well, what do you do? And you're like, well, I do real estate. And then you've got like 30 seconds to tell them what you do and who you are. Same thing with your voicemail. Have it prepared. Follow up with a text. After leaving the voicemail, also text them. Again, 95% of texts are read. I've got voicemails that are just sitting there. I'm terrible at voicemails because most people don't leave a voicemail. So I just assume at some point they're going to text me. All right. Text them that you left the voicemail. Then they'll probably go listen to the voicemail. All right, so you get to the coffee meeting. It could be a lunch. It could be a Zoom meeting. There's some people that will not take like John, for instance, will not take a lunch meeting. He'll tell you that. He doesn't take coffee meetings, but he'll take a Zoom meeting, right? Because it's more productive for him. So this does say coffee meeting agenda, but the coffee meeting could be anything. All right. I suggest not ever doing these over food. Okay. Um, you don't want the person to be distracted, and sometimes people get distracted the way you eat, whatever the case may be. Make it very simple. Learn their business first. So you're going to ask them open-ended questions. How did you get in the field? What do you like about lending? What's your favorite client to work with? If you had an avatar for clients you're prospecting, what would that look like? Okay. Be genuine. Don't waterboard them, right? You don't want to hit them with a bunch of questions that they're like, okay, I'm never going to get a word in edgewise. Ask questions, let it be natural, show interest, and showing interest can be by taking notes. Like write stuff down. I always, if I'm going to take notes in a conversation like that, especially when they're sitting across the table, I'll ask them permission, just out of respect. I'll say, would it be okay if I took a few notes while we talk? And they're going to say yes. All right. Understand their ideal client. Identify how you can help first. So you ask them all these questions, you're given all this information, then you're going to say, well, how can I help you best? In my role as a real estate agent and a connector here in the community, where can I help you be better in your business? Guess what they're going to ask you? They're going to ask you about your business. And if they don't, just share briefly with your business. Well, I appreciate meeting today. Let me just give you a little bit about what my business is, how I structure my team, and the services that I offer. In the event you come across anybody that might be looking for help. And then you're going to explore the collaboration opportunities. So where do the roads cross and where can we help each other grow? All right. So you've met them. Feels like they're a pretty good fit. You've scorecarded them. You know they're going to be a good strategic partner. Now you've got to be able to build that relationship with them. This is the thing that takes time. So there's weekly and monthly things that you can do. One of the biggest things you can do is send them a referral. Okay. So like if you're working with a lender and they do a really, really good job, and you hear we'll take an agent organization, Patty needs a lender, and you think this might be a good fit. You're going to reach out to Patty and say, hey, can I connect you with one of my strategic lender partners that might be able to help you in this? And then what you're going to do after that is you're going to do a three-way text with Patty, the lender, and yourself. Hey, I would like to introduce to you Patty. Patty, this is so and so. I know Patty's right now looking for a lender for their client, and I think the services you offer might be the right fit for them. Okay. Send them a referral. That's the most powerful thing you can do. Engage with their social media. Don't just like and love. Go in there and put a comment, and put a comment that's more than 3 words. Don't put awesome. Don't put great. Don't do just the emoji um with the guns. You can't just do that. Put something in there that's got value. Make power productions. So connect them to other professionals. You need to meet this person. So if like you're in a networking event, you're with this person, I'm like, you need to meet them. And you've probably seen me do this. If you come to one of my events, Jeff Shealy's luncheon, I was going around, Jeff, you need to meet Jessica. Jeff, you need to meet so and so, right? It's a power introduction. Promote them in your content. I love promoting Firecraft Barbecue. David Welch has become a good friend. And a lot of it started through this. Promote them through your content. It's free advertisement to them. They didn't ask you for it. It's giver's gain. Now, how do I get paid on that? I don't get agents from them. I don't get real estate transactions from them. Every time I go in there, I get an extra link of sausage. I'll take it. So, so promote them in your content. Invite them to events and trainings. So even if it's a real estate training, maybe it's a boot camp and they're your favorite home inspector, right? Chris Bond. um, oh my gosh, his name's slipping me. But the inspector for Good Friday's home inspection, I can remember that.
Ken.
Ken Mon, thank you.
You're welcome.
I was like, where did that go? I've known Ken for years. Just left. So invite them. And Ken, I got to talk with him after the boot camp in the Woodlands for 15, 20 minutes. And he was enthralled with the training. Now he's not a realtor, but he stayed and he has the growth mindset. That's why I love Ken. He's got that mindset of it doesn't have to be all about me or what I do. But if I can understand this part of it over here better, it's going to make my relationship with agents better, right? So bring them to boot camps. You can sign them up, or a training experience. If they want to come on one of these calls, they can do that as well, because this type of stuff actually helps everybody. Become a connector. The need to meet strategy. Okay. So, hey, vendor A, meet vendor B. So now you've got strategic partners that are working together. And so, A, meet B. I thought of both of you immediately. We serve clients at a similar higher level. I think there's a natural opportunity to support each other here. So when I went and I built the boot camp in Corpus Christi, I didn't know any vendors. So I built the relationship immediately with the capital title business development rep, and then used this here to connect all the people. And then we had the individuals to put on the event. And now when we go back, we've got these built-in relationships now that we can go back and do it again. Right. Always follow up with both parties 1 to 2 weeks later. Did y'all ever connect, or how did that connection go with you? I just connected one of my coaching clients to a friend in the development world. So I've got a note to call and just say, hey, how did that conversation go? All right. Co-marketing opportunities, educational seminars, homebuyer workshops. Melissa Brown in our organization held a homebuyer workshop and had, I think, 30 people sign up. And then when she was upset that there was only like 15 that showed, that's amazing. That's really, really good. So you can, and I think she had partnered with a lender. I don't know if she partnered with the home inspector or not, but they were all on the Zoom call together. Vendor spotlight videos, social collabs, email newsletter. If you do a monthly email newsletter, feature one of your strategic partners each month. Make sure they're receiving that newsletter, and don't tell them. That's the surprise part. Just do it, and then when they get it, they're gonna be like, "Oh, thanks. I really appreciate you doing that." Just make sure you're in compliance with any TREC and RESPA laws. Okay. So if there's an exchange of money in there and you're forcing the client to use them, then there's got to be agreements in place. But that's not what we're really talking about today. That's a whole nother conversation. So no illegal kickbacks or referral fees. Marketing must reflect actual services. Okay. Expenses must be proportionate and documented. All right. So if you have a vendor that's co-sponsoring an event, both parties may contribute roughly equal value, proportional benefit. You want to do that anyway, just because you don't want one vendor thinking, oh, well, I contributed $1,000 and that vendor contributed $50, and we're all getting the same marketing and promotion and everything else. All right, so create a structured vendor network, 5 to 10 vendor partners. That's going to be your inner circle. Okay. 20 to 30 in your extended network. I think you could push that to even 50. Now, what I would do is a lot of those strategic partners, I would make it one per industry. I wouldn't have two, three, four per industry. Okay. What I'm building is a little bit different because I've got a team and there's lots of moving parts, so we could have more. But if for yours, maybe have one in each category. If you go to any BNI event, BNI, you can only have one seat per industry. Create a branded vendor directory. So you could do this in Canva, which will take you ages, or you could throw it all into ChatGPT and it'll make one for you. Right? Put all your information on the cover of the directory or on the back of the directory, or put an about me page in the front of it saying, hey, I'm Jessica with JLA Realty, and put this together to help benefit blah 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 blah, and put your contact information in there, and now that directory is coming from you. Okay, so two things you can do with that. One, actually three things. So you use it as collateral on a listing or buyer's appointment. So your marketing collateral. You could give that to your client. Now they have a resource. Last, you could give it to your vendors or make copies for your vendors to pass them out to their people. So now you've got this directory that's got front page in there. It's got all your information, and they're passing it out to their people in their circles. Update it quarterly. Remove the vendors that you're like, we're not going to be partners anymore. Okay, they don't meet the standards.
Is this kind of like what Kelly did for her neighborhood, but not directly? I mean, kinda, but not.
Sort of. So hers is digital. So
Uh-huh.
hers is like a digital card, and then she has the little QR that goes to the site. So yes, similar in that way. This would be like a hard copy.
Okay.
I like the digital. The only challenge with digital is it's out of sight, out of mind. Where this could be like something that you could have. They'll put it in their junk drawer. They'll pull it out like 10 years later, and it's still there.
Gotcha.
Good question. Should you have a digital one on your website? Probably. I do both. How to ask for referrals. So value's been given. It's your first thing you got to make sure you've done. You've established trust. Collaboration has begun. Okay. So now you get into the realm to where you can start asking for the referral. Why do agents hesitate to ask? Because they haven't given any value. So they're afraid, like, and that's why a lot of people don't like asking for business, is because they have in their mind, well, what have I done for them? Right. And it's kind of like a mental block on, well, if I haven't done anything for them, then how could I even ask for the business? So think about that beyond building this network as well. All right. Think of referral ask like withdrawals from a bank account. Every active value you deliver is a deposit. When your account is full, a withdrawal doesn't deplete the relationship. It's expected. The goal is to keep depositing more than you withdraw. Okay, script the soft ask. If you ever come across somebody thinking about buying or selling, I'd love the opportunity to help them at a high level. Just like I'll continue to do the same for anyone I can send your way. Okay. Make it casual. After delivering a referral, when you've sent someone their way, text or call them. Add this line in. You've already demonstrated value. This closes the loop and plants the ask in the same breath. Quarterly check-ins. Things are going great on my end. Just a reminder, if anyone comes across the desk thinking about real estate, I'd love to be their first call. I'll do the same for you. So direct. Part of what I'm building is a network where we intentionally look to help each other grow. Who do you know right now that I could help in real estate? Okay. More direct. Some people soft works better. Some people direct works more better. When they already have a realtor. So we talked about this earlier. Don't let that run you away. So I completely respect that you've already had relationships. I'm not here to replace anyone. I'm here to be another strong option when the opportunity makes sense. Let me show you how I operate, and you can decide where I fit. You might have an expertise that they don't. Just because once you close your parents' property, now you're going to have two acreage properties that you close. That's going to give you a unique advantage that maybe another agent doesn't have. And so when you're talking to vendors, you can let them know that. You might deal with a lot of residential agents. I've dealt with some acreage. So if you've got somebody that's in that category, that maybe that's where I fit. Okay. Um, so doing that, you're eliminating the threat. You're being confident, but you're not being pushy. You're not saying you have to use me. Puts the decision in their hands, right? I said, and you can decide where I fit. Yeah, that's them getting to make the decision, not you, and leaving that door open. When a vendor tells you they've already have agent relationships, most agents will disengage. And some vendors will use that because they know the agent will disengage, right? It's like being at an open house and somebody walks in, you're like, "Are you currently working the realtor?" They're like, "Yes." They probably aren't, right? We got to ask a few more questions to find out if they really are, but people know that they can just say yes and that you'll disengage. So high performers hear an invitation. Here's why. Having existing relationships doesn't mean they're satisfied, exclusive, or they're locked in forever. It means you need to be different. Not by bad-mouthing competitors, but by demonstrating a higher level of engagement, value, and consistency than they're currently experiencing. So when I was selling in Summerwood, I this wasn't with vendors, it was with homeowners, is there was an agent that was dominating the neighborhood that I lived in and wanted to be in. Never badmouth this person. I just focused on demonstrating a higher level of engagement, value, and consistency. I'd tell them about the market. I'd send updates. I'd put them on newsletters. I'd invite them to events. Well, and I'd always say, I'd like to be your number two realtor because I know number one's going to mess up at some point. And they would just laugh. But guess what? Number one did mess up a lot. So I became number one. All right, systems to maintain the relationship. Got to put in your CRM. So a lot of y'all are using Bold Trail. Bold Trail is a CRM that our organization, for the most part, uses, but anybody can use any CRM. But you got to tag them. You got to set up your reminders, track the referrals given and received. Also, think about how you can reward those. Like maybe they get put into a drawing, right? So remember, you can only give so much for, I believe it's $25 value for a referral. But you could have used marketing and advertising dollars and create a referral or a contest giveaway, and they get points by sending referrals. So you can think of bigger prizes to, sweeten the pot a little bit, and they don't have to cost a whole lot. Quarterly touch points, business reviews. What's working well in your business right now? Where can I help you more? Is there anyone in your network I should introduce you to? That's a great question, by the way. If you really like the vendor or partner that you're working with, refer them. Okay. Um, one of my, two of my partners, strategic partners, I met at a JLA party. And I think John introduced me to the president of Hometown Title. And then while I'm in line talking to him, he's like, you need to meet Jeff Shealy. And Jeff and I have gotten to work a lot together, and he's a great person. But those introductions come through the network you're building. So if you've got great people, ask them who else you should know. Annual events, have a vendor appreciation event that you put on. Do a vendor mixer. Holiday gatherings, invite them. The fun part, when do you break up? Warning signs that your relationship has run its course. They're terrible communicators with your clients. They're the lack of communication, the no reciprocity. Maybe you've given them two or three referrals. They've had referrals and they're not getting sent to you, or their values have changed. And I've seen that a lot in this industry. There'll be one person, and 1 year later, something happens in their life, and their values are completely different. Well, you're not going to be in my organization anymore. Okay. So how do you handle it professionally? You're not going to say that. You always start with appreciation. I want to thank you for helping me over the year. You're not going to blame them. And then you're going to state your standards clearly. Your client's experience is the reason why you're making this decision. And then you got to be direct. So I've got to explore other options. And then you're not burning a bridge, you're redirecting. So you're just closing in with goodwill. All right. Are they uncomfortable conversations? 100%. I've had to do many of them over the years. Yet they were the right decisions to make. And at the end of the day, they know it too. Okay. Or you don't have to ever see them again. That's what I have in the back of my mind. I probably will never have to see them again. And that's okay. Right. But I'm going to be professional in the way that we part. All right. Protecting your brand and reputation is critical. So you want to make sure that the people that are referring are a reflection of you, and you are to them, by the way, as well. Audit annually, act on your complaints immediately. Don't wait. You know, you might have to make a call. Yeah, your client has a bad experience. Call that strategic partner. Hey, what's going on? My client's saying this is going on. And again, remember, your clients can be really weird too. See, I've seen some of your clients. So, just call your strategic partner. Hey, this is what's happening. Like, can you give me some feedback on this? And there's been times where, like, it wasn't the strategic partner's fault. Never refer out of obligation. Okay. So here's some advanced, just growth strategies, market updates, lead generation strategies, wins and challenges. We're going to skip that. All right, create a power team brand. So give your organization a name. Okay. Trusted home experts of this city. All right. I think Robbie has a group that they started that's like out kind of Spring, Woodlands, Conroe area, but give it a name, and that could be also on the little book that you create with all their contact info. It creates exclusivity, so perception's reality. So when people are joining that group and they see that it's got its own brand, it creates exclusivity. It amplifies the reach. It builds additional confidence with your clients when you're handing out their information. And it also creates accountability because they can be part of it and they may not be. So content strategy for your vendor network. These are just some ideas. You could have my Meet My Preferred Vendor series. So you could do a video and it might just be your vendor. It might be with you and your vendor. Maybe you're interviewing your vendor. Behind the scenes videos or success stories and complaint testimonials. All right. Testimonials build credibility and trust. Community posting. So sponsor local events together, volunteer as a group. We have JLA Can Day. So, find one of those events, take them. The Houston Food Bank. I know, Jessica, you've done that before. Take your vendor partners with you. Sign them up and say, hey, we're going to go as a group. Be known as the go-to in the network. So you're founding this network, you're building this network, you might as well be the go-to in the network. Show up, be present when you show up, get seen. And when you start doing that, you're going to build the trust, you're going to receive referrals. It's just going to happen. Here's the metrics you want to track. The 6 core data points. So how many referrals were given? How many were received? What's your conversion rate on those referrals? Because some people will give you just their junk. Okay. So you got to watch that. Vendor engagement. Are they engaging? If you have events, are they attending? And then are they reaching, doing social reach collaboration? So they're posting about your business as well. Those are the 6 things to measure. Vendor target list, again, start with 20. We talked about even building that up to 50, but start with 20. Give yourself a goal you can reach. And then 90 days max between touches. So you need to be touching your vendors every quarter, once a quarter. Where do you hear that too? Your sphere of influence. How often should you touch them? Once a quarter. All right. So how do vendors see you? You want them to see you because perception is reality. They want to see you as a connector. They want to see you as a leader, and they want to see you as a growth partner. Okay. Why most real estate agents close 4 to 10 units every year, no more? They're not any of these things. They're a transaction person. They're transaction oriented, not relationship. So if you can become the connector, leader, growth partner, and that's how you're perceived by your vendor network, that's going to turn out really, really good for you. All right. So the 90-day launch plan, and I'll share this with those on the call. I'll share the notes. 1 to 30 days, research and outreach. We're going to get that. We're going to go find those 20. 31 to 60 days, you're going to give first. So you're going to find reasons to give them. You're going to look for opportunities to refer them, do an introduction, engage with them on social content. And then days 61 to 90, you're going to build the structure. So you're going to tag all your vendors. And I would do this even now as you're adding them. Put them in, add the tags. create the first version of your branded directory. So in 61 to 90 days, you're going to have that directory put together. You're going to set up a quarterly touch point calendar. You can, if you're using a CRM, you could put a task in there and plan your first vendor mastermind or appreciation event. Okay. So action steps. Our broker was on a call this morning and we were talking about using Gamma for presentation. And Robbie Amagabar taught me. I taught Amanda Seidel. Amanda Seidel taught John Altick, and he utilized it in a presentation that he did. I think it was New Jersey this last week. And he said the common thread through all of that was that what people learned and they all put into action all the way through the chain. So this is where here's the plan, but who will take the action, right? And with that, I'm going to stop the recording and we'll talk questions and strategy.